initiated a case. What if they don't agree on what one wants to the parenting plan? Then you have to keep with what the parenting plan already is. So whatever's in the parenting plan is what stays, unless you need a modification, right? So in order to meet your standard for a modification, you'd have to have a substantial and unanticipated change in circumstances in order for you to be able to achieve that modification. So if they don't agree and that modification is absolutely necessary, right? And again, that's probably some circumstances that would be worth speaking to an attorney on. You could file a petition for modification, right? One of the best examples I have that is not about like bad parenting or whatever is perhaps you have a parenting plan where you ended up with every weekend because you worked overnights during the week, right? You worked 4 overnights during the week. So you ended up having every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then you get a new job or a promotion or something changes, you graduate and you become a doctor, and you then have to work every other weekend, and you wouldn't even be available every other weekend to have time sharing with your children because you're working those 16-hour trauma surgeon shifts, right? That's the reason you became a trauma surgeon.
Hey, trauma surgeons have got enough money to go back to court.
Yeah, you could go back to court and do that. Again, I'm using a hypothetical, or even nurses, right? Nurses are required in most,
or even like firefighters. I hear a lot of cases where firefighters, their schedule is what, 24 on, 48 off, or
yeah.
So like I know they have set schedules, but it could change. They could change departments or
They could switch, right? So that would be a good example of a reason you would need a modification, because you couldn't even do every weekend. You're no longer available.
I don't know. At that point, it's like, don't use your kids against the spouse.
Right.
Do what's best. It takes both parents, even if you aren't together, to raise a kid.
The hope would be that the two of you could come to an agreement and that we could submit to the court an agreed final judgment adjusting this accordingly.
Yeah.
But that can't happen with everyone, right?